I was 27 years old, standing in a sterile, overpriced law office, when the man who raised me looked me dead in the eye and said the most brutally definitive words imaginable. "You are a mistake, Alex. You are nothing to me. You are absolutely ***, not my son ***. For years, I'd suspected the truth. My father, Robert Sterling ***, a ruthless corporate lawyer obsessed with his bloodline, had always treated me with a distant, cold contempt that bordered on hatred, a stark contrast to the doting affection he showed my older sister, Chloe ***. But to hear it spoken out loud, in front of a lawyer, was a physical blow. He was ending my inheritance, my connection to the family name, and everything I thought I was, simply because I had failed to become the corporate shark he demanded. He thought he had complete control over the narrative, that he could simply declare me erased. But here's the unbelievable twist. Sitting across the table, his lawyer, a severe, silver-haired woman named ***, Thorne ***, didn't just nod along. She took a deep breath, opened a sealed file, and exposed a complex 20-year lie that shattered my father's life, vindicated every gut feeling I ever had, and, in the most shocking turn of fate, gave me legal and emotional leverage that stripped him of everything he ever valued. The lie wasn't just that I wasn't his son. The truth was a decades-old deception involving my mother, his professional rival, and a secret inheritance that made my father's entire life a carefully constructed fraud. Was I wrong to use the truth, given to me by his own lawyer, to seize everything he treasured, or was this the ultimate, overdue reckoning for 2 decades of psychological abuse? Tell me honestly, if the person who controlled your entire life revealed their hatred this way, would you take the high road or use every ounce of newly acquired power to deliver justice? My name is Alex Sterling ***, or at least, that was the name I carried for the first 27 years of my life. I grew up in a world of controlled luxury defined by my father, Robert Sterling, a man whose life revolved around pedigree, wealth, and the law. Robert was a partner at a prestigious corporate firm, and he viewed his children not as offspring, but as investments in his legacy. He was tall, impeccably dressed, and possessed of a chilling ability to make you feel fundamentally inadequate with just a glance. My older sister, Chloe ***, was the perfect Sterling investment. She was 2 years my senior, beautiful, ambitious, and she effortlessly mirrored Robert's driven, transactional personality. She went straight into corporate law, exactly where Robert wanted her, destined to take over his practice. Their bond was one of mutual professional admiration and cold, deep affection. I was the opposite. While I excelled in school, my passions lay in journalism and creative writing fields. Robert dismissed as frivolous, financially irresponsible, and beneath the Sterling name. My choice to pursue a master's in investigative journalism, rather than a Juris Doctor, created a permanent, widening chasm between us. The atmosphere in our home was dictated by Robert's approval, and mine was a constant state of failing to measure up. My mother, Eleanor Sterling ***, was the silent, long, suffering witness to this dynamic. She was a gentle, artistic woman who seemed to shrink under Robert's presence. She always offered me small, private gestures of affection, a packed lunch, a whispered encouragement, but she never once stood up to Robert's tyranny. She carried a deep, almost palpable sadness that I now understand was the weight of her own secret. The climax of this long, drawn-out familial tension began 3 weeks before that fateful meeting. Robert, now 60, decided to redraft his will and finalize the succession plan for his firm. He made it clear to me that my share of the inheritance would be a negligible trust fund, while Chloe would receive the firm, the family estate, and the bulk of his liquid assets. I didn't care about the money. I cared about the final, written confirmation of his lifelong disdain. I confronted him in his study, not to beg, but to seek clarity. Why, Dad, why this obvious difference? Is it really just because I chose a different career? That's when the dam broke. He didn't just dismiss me. He exploded. No, Alex, it's because you are fundamentally weak. You don't have the stomach for what we do, and frankly, I'm tired of looking at you. You remind me every day of my own failures. You have the wrong eyes, the wrong demeanor, the wrong everything. The cruelty was stunning, but still, I missed the real meaning. 3 days later, I received a formal summons to his lawyer's office to discuss the final terms of the estate exclusion. This was his power play, a legalistic, utterly cold final separation. The meeting took place in the office of *** Sterling and Finch ***, his competitor firm, which I thought was odd, specifically with Ms. Thorne, a woman known for her surgical precision and neutrality. Robert sat opposite me. Chloe was beside him, looking smug and triumphant. The air was thick with tension and Robert's barely suppressed contempt. The meeting started exactly as I expected. Robert, through Ms. Thorne, formally stated my minuscule inheritance and detailed the transfer of all major assets to Chloe. When I calmly signed the documents, accepting the financial consequence but refusing to accept the emotional verdict, Robert couldn't stand it. He needed a final emotional victory. He leaned forward, his voice a low, venomous hiss. "Just sign it, Alex. Get out of our lives. You are a drain on my resources and my patience. And understand this, here, in front of witnesses, you are nothing to me. You are ***, absolutely not my son ***." The statement hung in the air, echoing the suspicions I'd always held. Chloe looked shocked, then instantly excited by the implication of absolute sole inheritance. I felt the familiar burn of tears, instantly suppressed by a cold, protective shell. Then Ms. Thorne, Robert's own hired gun, cleared her throat. She didn't look at Robert or Chloe. She looked directly at me. "Mr. Sterling," she said, her voice measured and professional, "before we finalize these exclusion documents, I have been instructed by a third party to present a sealed affidavit. It related to the paternity of Mr. Alex Hayes ***, formerly known as Alex Sterling, and the true ownership of the assets currently listed under Robert Sterling's estate." Robert's face went white. He jumped up, yelling, "Thorne, what the hell are you doing? I hired you. This is privileged information. You cannot do this." Ms. Thorne simply opened the file and continued, completely unfazed by Robert's rage. She didn't work for Robert. She worked for the firm, and she was following a protocol I couldn't yet grasp. The affidavit proves, based on notarized documents and a privately held genetic test performed 17 years ago, that Mr. Robert Sterling is indeed ***, not ***, the biological father of Mr. Alex Sterling. Mr. Sterling's biological father is ***, Mr. James Hayes ***. The name hit me like a physical punch. James Hayes. He wasn't just a name. He was Robert's greatest, most bitter professional rival. James Hayes was the senior partner at the competing law firm, Sterling and Finch, the very firm whose office we were sitting in. He was known for his integrity, his quiet brilliance, and his crushing legal victories over Robert. This was the man Robert had spent 2 decades despising and trying to defeat, and he was my father. But the real, seismic shock came next. MS. Thorne continued, reading from the document that outlined the 20-year lie. Furthermore, the affidavit, it reveals that upon the birth of Alex, Mr. Robert Sterling and Mrs. Eleanor Sterling entered into a legally binding private contract with Mr. James Hayes. This contract stipulated that in exchange for Mr. Hayes agreeing to stay away and allow Alex to be raised as a Sterling, Mr. Robert Sterling would execute a specific, irrevocable trust. This trust transferred the controlling, non-voting interest in *** Sterling Investments Group ***, the primary financial arm of Robert Sterling's entire estate, to the biological heir of James Hayes, held in escrow until that heir reached the age of 25. The name on that trust is *** Alex Hayes ***. I felt the blood drain from my head. Robert hadn't just accidentally revealed my paternity. He had been living a lie for 20 years, forced to raise his rival's son, knowing that one day that son, me, would inherit the true financial foundation of his empire. He wasn't excluding me from his will. I already owned the mechanism that controlled his wealth. Robert was screaming, a broken, defeated sound. Chloe was looking from Robert to me, her entire sense of inherited entitlement dissolving before her eyes. So that's the situation I was in. The man who had psychologically abused me for 27 years, telling me I was worthless and removing me from his will, was revealed to be a prisoner of his own greed and a decade-old contract. His greatest humiliation, having James Hayes's son under his roof, was also the source of my power. The documents were all there, ironclad, meticulously drawn up by James Hayes's legal team. I had the power to reveal this truth to the world, embarrass Robert professionally, and take the controlling interest in the Sterling Investments Group, effectively becoming the majority owner of the firm's financial future. Or I could simply walk away with the knowledge and my mother's secret protected, leaving Robert and Chloe to wonder when I might strike. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have shown mercy and focused on building a new life with your real father? Or would you have executed the contract, seizing the control you rightfully owned for the sheer satisfaction of justice? Seriously, let me know what choice you would have made right there. Peace or total, public dismantling. I chose the public, painful dismantling, but I didn't rush. The revenge had to be surgical, not emotional. I had endured 27 years of his psychological warfare, fueled by his knowledge that I was the living embodiment of his professional failure. Now it was my turn to use the law against the lawyer. I looked at Robert, who was slumped in his chair, panting, his usual cold authority utterly shattered. I looked at Chloe, whose expression had curdled from triumph to sheer, desperate calculation. MS Thorne. I said, my voice steady, my journalist training kicking in, allowing me to treat the situation as an objective fact. Thank you for presenting the true terms of the trust. My biological father, James Hayes, is he aware of this action today? Mr. Hayes is aware of the contingency and instructed the firm to execute the affidavit. It only if Robert Sterling initiated formal exclusion proceedings against you. MS. Thorne replied. He wanted to ensure your protection without initiating conflict himself. I realized then that James Hayes was the silent guardian, the man who had ensured I was safe from Robert's final, cruel act. It wasn't just about inheritance, it was about protection. I turned to Robert. You despised me because I was James Hayes's son. You hated my career choice because James Hayes valued integrity and truth over your legalistic savagery. For 27 years, you treated your professional rival's son like dirt, knowing all along that the majority of your true wealth, the engine of your legacy, was legally controlled by the child you rejected. Robert tried to speak, but only a choked sound emerged. I took the signed exclusion documents, and, instead of tearing them up, I handed them back to MS. Thorne, I accept these terms. I formally renounce the name Sterling and all claims to Robert Sterling's personal, non-trust assets. I paused, letting the implication sink in. I don't want the name of the man who raised me in contempt. But I will, however, be asserting my full rights as the irrevocable controlling beneficiary of the *** Sterling Investments Group Trust ***. I reached into my bag and pulled out my own notarized document. This is a statement, effective immediately, exercising the controlling voting rights of the trust. As of this moment, I, Alex Hayes ***, own the financial majority of the corporate holding group that funds Robert Sterling's entire firm and personal wealth. Chloe gasped. Robert stood up again, swaying dangerously. You can't, that's my life, I won't let you. You already did, I said, my voice hardening. 20 years ago, when you signed that contract with James Hayes to protect your own image, you valued the appearance of a Sterling family more than the truth, and now the truth is taking your kingdom. You thought you were removing a piece of worthless furniture from your estate. You just handed the keys to the kingdom to your enemy's son. The aftermath was swift and total. Robert's entire professional world was built on the image of unwavering control. The news that his biggest rival's son, the journalist he despised, now controlled his personal fortune through a secret trust agreement sent shockwaves through the legal community. He was professionally humiliated. His partners, fearing the instability, forced him into an immediate, involuntary retirement, stripping him of the title and the firm he had valued above everything else. Chloe, who had inherited a now financially constrained firm, was furious, her perfect legacy crumbling. My mother, Eleanor, reached out to me 2 days later. She confirmed everything, tearfully admitting she had been coerced by Robert's family to agree to the contract, and that she had loved James Hayes, but had been terrified of Robert's power. She revealed that James Hayes had been subtly watching over me, a silent protector. I met James Hayes, my biological father, the following week. He wasn't the ruthless shark Robert was. He was kind, quiet, and incredibly proud of my journalism career. He explained that the trust was designed not as revenge, but as my protection against Robert's inevitable final cruelty. He never told me the truth because he respected the contract, but he made sure I couldn't be left with nothing. He had respected my mother's silence, but ensured my future. I didn't liquidate the Sterling Investments Group. I didn't bankrupt Robert. That would have been too quick. Instead, I used the controlling interest to appoint a new board, focus the firm's considerable assets on philanthropic legal aid initiatives, and completely divest from Robert's old, ethically questionable clients. I legally kept the assets that he treasured, forcing Robert to watch from the outside as his life's work. The assets he used to measure his worth were transformed into something ethical and useful, entirely controlled by the son he rejected. I had taken his name and his money, and in the end, I delivered the final, most satisfying blow. I made his hated rival's son, the journalist, the ethical steward of the fortune he coveted. I finally protected my peace by delivering the justice that was due. Like this video, if you think James Hayes' silent protection plan was the ultimate legal checkmate. Subscribe for more stories about hidden trusts and ultimate family betrayals. And share your final thoughts on Robert Sterling's stunning collapse in the comments section below. I'll see you all in the next story.